Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So far we have covered raster data, vector operations and working with satellite bands in PyQGIS. Today we are going to take all of that and use it actually to extract meaningful data from satellite images. We have done this before, but then we'll be looking at more indices now. So we will be looking at remote sensing indices, typically NDWI, NDBI, SAVI, EVI. We will understand how to calculate them in PyQGIS. So let's get started. So what are indices? So think of it in this way. A satellite captures images across multiple spectral bands. So you have red band, you have green band, you have infrared band, shortwave infrared band. So many bands are available here. Each band tells us something about how the Earth's surface is reflecting or absorbing light. But raw band values alone can be noisy. So they are basically affected by, the atmospheric haze, terrain shadows, sun angle, and that is where my indices come in. So the remote sensing indices are mathematical combinations of all these bands that we have. Different bands are used and they are basically designed to highlight specific features on the ground like water, urban buildings, vegetation, and they are trying to reduce the background noise as well. They are incredibly powerful because they let us map land use, land cover, monitor the crop health in drought conditions, track urban growth, and for water bodies detection and flooding. So in short, they help us convert the raw data into actionable decision ready information. So now let's look at the categories that we have. So there are major categories that we have. We have vegetation indices, which are basically NDVI, SAVI, EVI. So this is normalized difference vegetation index. Then you have soil adjusted vegetation index. This is enhanced vegetation index. I have slides for each and every one so that you're able to understand their formula. Then you have water indices, NDWI, built up area, so NDBI, B is for built up. Then you have soil and moisture indices, MSI. So NDWI highlights rivers, lakes, flooded areas. Then built up index helps us identify cities, urban zones. Then moisture soil index helps us track soil water content. And vegetation index we've already discussed before also. So we have these categories of NDVI, SAVI, EVI, which tell us about the plant health and cover. So let's start with NDWI. So I have a theory part, then I have a practical where you'll be actually using the satellite data that we downloaded earlier to be able to extract NDWI and then make an interpretation. So this is basically used to detect water bodies, rivers, lakes, reservoirs, wetland, and even flooded area from satellite imagery. So let's understand the basic physics behind it. Water absorbs NIR radiations and reflects green light. So vegetation and soil are opposite. They reflect NIR strongly. So by comparing green and NIR bands, we can isolate water very effectively. So the formula is something like this. You have green minus NIR upon green plus NIR. And this again ranges from -1 to +1. So this is the interpretation. If I have a value greater than 0.3, this is basically open water. It could be rivers, lakes, ponds. Something between 0 and 0.3 is flooded area, wetland or turbid water. Then anything between -0.1 to 0 is moist soil, irrigated land. So you have some moisture present, some water content, and less than -0.1 is dry soil, vegetation and built up area. It could be anything between these. Then moving on to NDBI. It is used to identify and map urban areas from satellite images. The physics behind this is that built up surfaces, whether of concrete, asphalt, rooftops, reflect more shortwave infrared than the NIR, near infrared. Vegetation does the opposite. So by using the SWIR and NIR bands, we can separate urban areas from greenland. So the formula is SWIR minus NIR upon SWIR plus NIR. And the interpretation is, so if I have greater than 0.2, it is a dense urban or built up area. Between 0 and 0.2 is mixed urban and sparse buildings are present. Between -0.1 to 0, bare soil or transition zones. And if it is less than minus 0.1, it is vegetation or water bodies. Then moving on to SAVI, which is Soil Adjusted Vegetation Index. So why do we need this? We already have NDVI. So the main problem is that vegetation cover, if it is sparse, then like any semi-arid or agricultural area, a lot of bare soil is also visible. That exposed soil reflects light in a way that confuses NDVI and gives us inaccurate readings. SAVI solves this by introducing soil correction factor. So there's something called a L value, which is the soil correction factor here introduced in my formula. So it is typically used to reduce the influence of soil background on the index. So the formula becomes something like this: NIR minus red upon NIR plus red plus L into 1 plus L. So we choose the value of L as 1 when we have very sparse vegetation which is less than 10% cover, or we are talking about an arid or desert region. We keep it 0.5 when we have moderate vegetation cover, and this is the most commonly used value, and we will also use this adjustment factor only. Then we have value kept as 0.25 where we have very high vegetation density or a dense canopy present. And for 0, SAVI becomes equal to NDVI. So there is no correction applied. So if I have this as 0, I will have simply NIR minus red upon NIR plus red, which is my NDVI value. Now moving on to the interpretation. If I have value coming less than 0, it will be water or snow. Between 0 and 0.1 is bare soil, rock, urban. Between 0.1 to 0.2, it is very sparse vegetation. Between 0.2 to 0.3, it is sparse or dry vegetation. Or it could be semi-arid shrubs also. So the interpretation is generally, you can see, for wherever my vegetation cover is actually not present. So that is why there's a, so for the lower values, this is there. Over here, you can see if we have 0.3 to 0.6, it is moderate vegetation. Greater than 0.6, dense, healthy vegetation, which is similar to NDVI. So generally, it is used only for, arid regions. So that is why these values make more sense. Then we have something called EVI also, which is the Enhanced Vegetation Index. Now, what is the problem with SAVI and NDVI? They both have a certain limitation. They saturate in very high dense biomass areas like tropical rainforests, where even thick canopy growth stops showing up as a change in the index values. So they are sensitive to atmospheric effects. The haze, smoke, aerosols can distort the readings. So EVI was developed by NASA specifically for the MODIS satellite to fix both these issues. Now, what is the difference here? So you have a formula like this, where you're basically having the blue band, the red band, and the NIR band. These three bands are used in conjugation, and you have a multiplicative value, which is the G, gain factor, which is typically set to 2.5. So it basically multiplies to rescale the output, and the constants are basically, there are two constants which are introduced, two coefficients, which are generally kept as 6 and 7.5 to reduce the soil and canopy background noise. So this is all done by, basically taking in the values and calibrating as per the actual values on the ground truth. So these formulas has been developed in that way. Now we will move on to the practical session. So rather than explaining it over here, I will rather go to the practical session and take you step by step into it. So let's search for QGIS. Run as administrator. So I'm here on the Python console. Start a script editor. Now let me first walk you through the code that I have. So I have already explained you the formulae. Here you are using the green band and the NIR band in the NDWI. And then I have two factors here, the multiplicative value and the additive offset. Let me explain this first. So what's happening is that I am scanning values and I'm getting raw values from the satellite. Now the purpose of M here, the multiplicative factor or the gain, is to correct for the sensor sensitivity, which is the gain, and solar angle variations. So it normalizes the different sensors to a common scale. And then I have an additive offset also, which corrects the dark current, atmospheric haze, the path radiance, and it removes constant offsets. So the M and A are coefficients critical for converting raw sensor data to standardized physical quantities such as reflectance, radiance, temperature before the index calculation, so that we are sure that the data is uniform across time, space and different sensors. So the M and A values are specifically given to us in the metadata once we are downloading the image from a particular satellite. So we really don't have to worry about them, just use it as it is. So in the code you will see here M is 0.00002, A is minus 0.1. These are standard values to be used with Landsat. Like before, we'll be using the raster calculation. So input A is my green band, band A is 1. So we are reading the first band. We only have one band in the green band. Similarly, input B is my NIR band. And again, the first band is used. Formula is like we explained over here. So I'm using the multiplicative factor as a multiplication value and A is added as an offset. And the output is stored here in this particular location. You have to be sure that this path exists, and then this is the file which will be created. Once this is done, then if it is valid, it will be added to the left hand side inner layer. Otherwise, it will say fail to load. So let's run this code and see what happens. So you can see the result here now. Looking at the information, I can start looking at the values. So you will start getting values here. So let me go back to the slide for interpretation. So you can see here for WI, water bodies would have anything greater than 0 is basically a water body. Let me just put the OpenStreetMap here. I'll pull it down. So now you can see how it's looking like for the Kanpur region. It's something like this. So look over here. So this seems to be a water body and the value is close to 0. So you can see the interpretation here. Anything close to area 0 is basically my flooded area, wetland, turbid water. Right? It becomes a little positive. So these are the water bodies that I have. So it seems okay. So in the evapotranspiration lecture, I had told you how to store this entire value into a CSV file with the latitude, longitude and the value. So you could do similarly over here. For each and every latitude, longitude, you will have pixel by pixel the water bodies clearly mentioned. So you could do that and then you could extract all the pixels and map them correspondingly to the vegetation index, and then taking a voting system, you could actually find out the land use of the entire area. So now let's proceed with the second part. I'll walk you through the code first. So the formula was this. We had a correction value here, L, which was basically 0.5 like I had told you. So just go through the code here. We've used the same formula here. So we have the NIR band, we have the red band, then the output where we want to store this particular image that will be created, the multiplicative value, the A value, and L is 0.5, the soil adjustment factor. Again, the same thing here, the formula is taken and we will load it. So let's see. So this is the Savi script. Let's run this. I will remove the NDWI one. And I will pull this over here. So right now I'm seeing Savi and OpenStreet. Now again the values have come in and I'll be able to interpret them. So the vegetation index. So this is basically the values were like this. This is the interpretation, and you can just click and see wherever, if in case you have an area of interest, you could find out for that particular latitude, longitude. Otherwise, you could export the entire thing for the CSV file and be able to interpret it later on. Now let's look at the third part of the code, which is the NDBI. So the NDBI was the built-up index. We were using SWIR, short wave infrared, and the near infrared. Let me walk you through the code. So the code is here. You are using the NIR band, the short wave infrared band. Output is again the same path that we want. You have two values of M and A, and you put it in the formula. Again, the same thing is done. Let's run this code and see if it works. So this is the NDBI value that we have. Let me run it. So now the NDBI comes in. I will remove all these so that I don't see them. So this is how my image starts coming. Let me click any value. I will start seeing NDBI values. And the interpretation was something like this. So dense values wherever the value is greater than 0.2. So here you can see these values, the lighter values are generally my values which are positive. The dense part, so wherever there is a settlement, so this look appears to be like Lucknow, so here the values are lighter. So it is giving us denser built up areas. So similarly, wherever there are cities present, you would see lighter values, and that's probably the built up area. So this brings us to the end of this lecture. See you in the next one. Thank you.